and brought into this illegal, immoral, and illegally occupied place that at one time was called Turtle Island, we know that how we got here has everything to do with the issue of reparations that we are fighting today. And they did not just kidnap Africans from the continent and drop them off on in this place, what is now called the United States, but they dropped them off, they kidnapped them and dispersed them all throughout the world, really. The diaspora is what we often refer to it as. And it is so important. We need strong political analysis and ideology with boots on the ground to help us navigate through these difficult times so that we can win, so that we can have power, reclaim and regain our power of who we are, independent of these ruthless colonizers. And we have to be deliberate about that. And the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations is just the vehicle to help get us there. We got to be organized. We've got to be united. And we have to be able to look at things not just in terms of where we are in this illegally occupied place called the United States, but throughout the world. And we know that there have been forces, colonizing forces. I think that there's all part of COINTELPRO that have been trying to bring a divide within the reparations movement. Trying to bring a divide. We have people talk about they're not African and they're not this and they only just want something for people in the United States or whatever. The Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations does not take that position, and we never have. We know we have to look at and deal with things where we are. We know that our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, they of course have to deal with it in terms of how they were affected by it. But we are not divided. We cannot be divided around this issue or other issues. We are an African people, and there's so much power that lies in us being an African people united against a ruthless imperialist system. So I just wanted to sort of give that as my introduction on behalf of the Black is Back Coalition as the vice chair. And we're going to be hearing a lot more from our from the reparations working group. But this is a start today, not even really a start. I just say all of this to say, we need you. We need you to be joining the Black is Back Coalition. We need you to be joining the reparations working group. And now more than ever, because I don't have to tell you what we're looking at today. I don't have to tell you that. So I just wanted to, again, thank everybody, to say welcome, to say to the Reparations Working Group, we appreciate all that you do, and we appreciate everybody who's listening and all of the supporters within the Black is Back Coalition and the Uhuru movement. And with that, I see no better way to introduce the African Nation fight song than right now. So I'm going to bring that on, and bear with me, people, as I try to make this happen seamlessly, but I'm sort of helping to do the tech stuff. So let me just start the African Nation fight song, and hopefully I'll do this without a hitch.
Shout Uhuru for our freedom. We Patrice Lumumba's life won't be in vain. We are winning. Keep up the work in Marcus Garvey's name. We are winning. Independent and free is what we will be. We are winning. Africa will bask in our victory. We are winning. Long live the liberation of our African nation. Freedom through organization. Socialist world, our creation. 1 billion strong, yes, we are one. We are
Uhuru. And we want to thank our sister Elikia Ngoma for that. And now I'm just going to go right on and introduce the steering committee members. Let me see if I can do this from here. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, I thought I could just do that right from that particular window, but I'm going to come back on it. Just give me a moment, please, while oh gosh, while I set up for the excuse me a moment, please. I'm trying to get this set up for the steering committee. Okay, now we're back to how it should be. Now let me I'm going to hit the shared screen and introduce the steering committee members of the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. First, we have the chair and co-founder of the Black is Back Coalition, Omali Yeshitela, and he's also the chair of the African People's Socialist Party. Then you have me, Lisa Davis, the vice chair, and I'm also the chair of the Healthcare Working Group and also the Political Action Working Group as well. We want to build that up too, that working group. Nkululeko Shabaka, who is the outreach coordinator. We have Sister Ikenge Mayeli, who is, she's just the coordinator of everything, and she's also the chairman's assistant. Okay, we have Brother Dr. Maximella Odom, who's the chair of the Black Community Control of Police Working Group. Sister Betty Davis with the New Abolitionist Movement, and she's also the chair of the Black Community Control of Education Working Group. We have Brother Emmanuel Maku, he's the international president of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement, and he's the chair of the Youth and Student Working Group. Brother Daoud Khaliq, who's the chair of the Reparations Working Group. Sister Belinda Parker Brown with Louisiana United International. Our brother, Reverend Edward Pinckney with the Black Autonomy Network Community Organization, BANCO. We have Brother Jihad Abdulmamit with the Jericho Movement and the Political Prisoners Working Group. Sister Yejide Owamila, who's with the African National Women's Organization, ANWO. We have Brother Life Malcolm of the Black People's Advancement and Defense Organization. We have Brother Akil Baruti, who's the President General of the Universal African Peoples Organization, WAPO. We have the Joko Collective with Brother Tasha Thomas, Sister Tasha Thomas, Brother Yusef Imhotep, and Sister Jamila Feemster. We have Amanda Wallace of Operation Stop CPS. Brother Paul Pumphrey, co-founder Friends of the Congo. Brother Robert Ward Williams, chairman of the Black Panther Party, San Diego. And Brother Cam Howard with Reparations United. And that is the Black is Back Steering Committee. And right now, I'm going to turn this over to the Reparations Working Group. And Sister Mama Fahima, do you want to introduce the members of the Reparations Working Group? You're muted if you're talking. Are you able to unmute yourself, Sister Fatima?
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. This is Mama Fatima coming to you from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm a member of the Reparations Working Group. I represent Louisiana United International, led by Sister Belinda Parker Brown. And also, I am going to be introducing your panelists. First up is Brother Daoud Khaliq. Brother Daoud was born and raised in New Jersey City, New Jersey. He graduated from Henry Snyder High School, Soul Class of 1969, and attended New Jersey City University, NJCU, where he worked with the Black Student Union Organization, the Black Freedom Society, and he worked as a guest teacher with the Jersey City Board of Education and held that position until May of 1983 when he moved to California. Soon after arriving in California, he began to search for and later found out about the SWAPO Support Committee, Malcolm X Grass Movement. Malcolm X Grass Movement. In the year 2000, he became a charter member of the Reparations Platform Coalition, the Reparations United Front. To this day, he remains a member in good standing, where from time to time he works as the organization's memory keeper, aka recording secretary. He is now the chair of the Black is Back Coalition's Reparations Working Group.
Brother Daoud?
Yes. Okay.
Your camera's not on. And can you just let us know who the other members of the Reparations Working Group are?
Okay.
Well, Mama Fatima, perhaps you can do that while he's getting his camera on.
Okay, no problem. Okay, we also have Dr. David Horn, Sister Betty Davis, Chief Omar Hardy.
Those are our other panelists, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And our other members of the Reparations Working Group are Brother Ray Mitchell and Brother Larry Wells, who I see are on with us today. So I really want to appreciate them for the work that they've done to put this this webinar together. Brother Daoud, are you able to get your camera on?
I don't know. I'm trying, but it says I hit the camera icon and.
All right. Well, just keep.
It says you cannot start your video because the host has it disabled it. Wow.
I just asked you to start your video, and I'm not sure which one you're on because there are two people on.
There you are.
There we go.
There you go.
Ahead.
There you go.
Okay. Wow. Okay. This is what we call our reparations webinar. And we're going to be going over some issues with reparations and give you the history and all that. And we're going to have a couple of speakers to come on and elaborate on the subject of reparations, history and all that. So I'm going to start with my opening statement, and then we'll go into, like, all the speakers that will follow me. All right. Anyway, thanks to everybody who's on for coming. And, if you know somebody who's interested in reparations, call them up and tell them, like, to tune in. All right. On your link. Anyway, it says, as I see it, the reparations movement has come a long way since the year 2000, when I first became involved with the Reparations United Front. In 2023, more states and cities have taken on the reparations issue. However, we still have a long way to go. The last was New York State. If the movement is to become more successful, there are a few things that must happen. It must take, it may take a while, but it must be done. We have to continue to build the movement by, one, the movement must become more united. Reparations organizations must unify into one national reparations organization with various locations across the nation. To commonly agreed upon definition of what reparations is must be adopted by all mutual reparations organizations and promoted as such. Develop a reparations education and information arm to further educate, inform, and in general public, so that misinformation become non-existent and we can no longer confuse the issue. The reparations movement must develop an active legal arm. There must be a clear definition as to what we will be paying, or who will be paying, and who will receive reparations. A legal research team is necessary because the main battle for reparations will be fought in the courts. The plaintiffs are American-born African descendants and descendants of American in the historical and present and business partners. After it is researched and solidified, we will have a legal standing to push our case forward. It must be made clear that the two above defendants are only ones to be held responsible for paying reparations. More importantly, it must be clearly understood by all parties. Reparations cannot and will not be a one and done payment to any one person or group. Going forward, reparations must be established as payments lasting as long and succeeding generations to last as long as the enslavement experience did. Funds must be made available to communities, organizations to rebuild them. Finally, to start the reparations or unification process, we must develop and hold what I would call the reparations webinar Congress, or I should say the NRC, the Reparations National Congress, number 2. The first one was in 1994, I think, somewhere around there. Anyway, all reparations organizations must meet in dialogue, organize, and push the movement forward in a more unified manner. All the petty differences must be set aside. Plans as to how we advance the movement must be decided and acted upon in unity. There are projects I would like to bring into existence in 2026 to be pulled the reparations and working group back together. Well, that's another issue. Anyway, that's just like an overview of what reparations is, and a little bit of history about it and stuff. So we're going to have a couple of speakers today, and we're going to be talking about different aspects of reparations and things like that.
Uhuru, Brother Daoud.
Sister Fatima, and myself, and was it Cam Howard?
I don't know if he's on, but Brother Daoud's sister Ikenge was calling you. If you could center yourself a little bit more with the camera because we want to see your beautiful face. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, everybody. And everybody, if you all could please watch that. Just make sure that you're centered nicely because we want to see you.
Right. That's okay. Now something is covering your camera, but I was hoping that what you could, if you could share with us, the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparation in 2016 established a national Black political agenda for self-determination. Its declaration and 19 points can be found on the Black is Back website. After a years-long process, this document was produced by the coalition, and there is a point number 6, which specifically deals with the question of reparations. And I think that it's very important and vital to this discussion. If I could read that, please.
Yes, please.
It is point number 6 on reparations. It says, we demand reparations consistent with international norms regarding redress for crimes against humanity. This includes the enslavement, colonialism, and apartheid from which we suffer up to today. The totality of repair, according to international law, must include policies, programs, and projects that cease ongoing racial crimes, offer restitution and return us to wholeness, provide compensation that allows for a quality standard of life, as well as individual and collective wealth creation, ensure satisfaction that returns our dignity and achieves rehabilitation for the heart, mind, body, and spirit, injuries resulting from the centuries of trauma and abuse. That again is point number 6 from the National Black Political Agenda for Self-Determination that was adopted and produced by the coalition in 2016. Uhuru. Thank you.
And also, just to tag onto that real briefly, point number 17 also says that the West must pay its debt to Africa.
So I'm going to read now from a card that, our organization, Reparations United Front.
Brother Daoud, you got something in front of your face on the camera? Yeah, there you go. That's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. It says, what is reparations? Our quest for redemption and our dignity and positive self-worth. Our quest for an apology to our ancestors. An atonement and compensation for hundreds of years of enslavement and murder. Our quest to heal this country of its racist and present discrimination suffered by people of African descent. There's overwhelming evidence of the reparations debt, personal testimony, books, pictures, property, records, and deeds, financial profits, and historical documents that persist to the present. People of African descent are still facing post-slavery discrimination 4 centuries later. It is a national, international struggle that is connected with a global reparations struggle. The vestiges of colonialism and capitalism affect us even today. It is an internal struggle for us to be redeemed and to assist us with our future betterment. It is an apology and an atonement for long-term abuse, rape, lynchings, castrations, murder, and exploitation of people of color, talking about the Africans. It is also a demand for the release of Black political prisoners. It is logical others who have suffered less and receive reparations, and it is the correct action. So, on all those points, we are working to one, spread the word of reparations. We're going to be coming up later on. There's going to be an announcement about we're going to have reparations working group class, and we're going to invite people to join us and whatnot in these classes and whatnot as we learn more about reparations. That's the education part. So people who don't know or people who know a little can learn a lot more. All right. Should I introduce the speakers now? One of the speakers?
I believe that I will be introducing the
All right.
speakers. Okay, thank you. The first speaker is Dr. David Horn, Professor Emeritus of African Studies at Cal State University, Northridge. Dr. Horn is a tenured full professor of critical thinking and African history and is the former chair of the Pan African Studies Department at Cal State University, Northridge. He also teaches graduate public policy and introductory political analysis, and he is the graduate advisor for the department. He is the original executive director of the California African Political Institute at CSU Northridge and the former executive director of the revised California African American Political and Economic Institute at California State University, Dominguez Hills. Currently, he is the director of the Pan African Public Policy Institute, housed in the Department of Pan African Studies at Cal State Northridge, the co-founder and president of the Sixth Region Diaspora Caucus, and the co-founder and political consultant to the newly formed Council of Black Political Organizations, COBCO. COBCO. So we're ready for Dr. Horn now.
Uhuru, Dr. Horn, I'm not sure, but Brother Daoud, I think that we should also say that we want to address with our speakers the question of what is reparations and why are reparations owed us. Uhuru, if you can address that, Dr. Horn. We can barely, if you're talking, Dr. Horn, there seems to be something wrong with your microphone.
Right. And are you able to open up your camera? Because we were able to see you earlier if you're able to open up your camera. Great. Maybe it's your headphones, Dr. Horn, because we're getting a lot of feedback, like interference. We can't hear you. We can't hear you at all.
Well, we can't hear you, so while we try to work on whatever the technical difficulties are that we're having, perhaps we can go to another of our panelists, and that is Sister Betty Davis with the New Abolitionist Movement. And again, the position of on reparations, we from the African People's Socialist Party feel that we want everything, and there are certainly numerous injustices, if you will, that are that warrant reparations. And Sister Betty is going to come to us with what she is experiencing and the city of Brooklyn is experiencing in terms of how and why reparations are due.
Right, and I
Uhuru.
can just read her brief bio.
Go ahead.
She's a former adjunct professor at Medgar Evers College and co-founder of the New Abolitionist Movement and a longtime activist for community control of education since the New York City school strike in 1967. She is also the chair of the Black Community Control of Education Working Group of the coalition and is also the host of the very popular radio show on WBAI, What's Happening. Sister Betty Davis, it's always an honor, always, to be on the
Well,
program with you.
I want to thank you. I've got another partner with me today, a real warrior from the Republic of Brooklyn. He's one of the reasons people my age, seniors in their 80s, feel safe in their homes because he not only puts his words out there, he risks his own safety for those of us. And he's currently facing charges for being such a warrior. I'm referring to none other than Chief Minister Omar Hardy. He's a media proprietor who owns multiple companies specializing in communications, media, and entertainment, including the Black Lady Theater and an elite graphic and design and print studio. He's recognized as an industrialist in his many forms of business and organization. The effects of his work can be felt throughout the community. He has been a champion for preserving our rich culture and while working diligently to save our properties that have been systematically stolen by means of deed theft. As a leader amongst his people and his community, myself included, Chief Minister Omar strives to honor the ancestors by educating the youth and protecting the elders. His commitment to building up others through providing meaningful access and opportunities helps to further strengthen all those who cross his path. And I want to give just a little background of what I mean when we talk in terms of what is meant within the framework of dual and contending powers against colonialism. I'm taking a quote from the most recent author to deal with the concept of the Black tax. 150 years of theft, exploitation, and dispossession in America. The reason I'm using this text is because quite often when Ralph would participate, Ralph Pointer that is, in our discussions, he would say to me, listen, not only are we entitled to reparations, but we don't seem to be able to stop them from stealing from us in the present. And so one of the things I want to reference is the whole background for this issue of deed theft. As you know, taxes is this country's way of delivering and the distribution of vital public goods, allegedly. These goods and services that supposedly promote clean water, sewage, fire protection, public safety, recreation, and education. And the tax infrastructure for this has been entrusted to the local governments. And so what they have done is come up with the locally administered and enforced taxes on local property. And these features of American federated system of taxation and public spending have made the property tax ripe for manipulation and for abuse, prone to inequitable results. What am I really saying? Black people have paid the heaviest cost. From the late 19th century up until today, local tax assessors have consistently overtaxed the lands and homes that Black people own and the neighborhoods where they live. And when they allegedly fail to pay on time, or there are issues regarding a particular bill, such as a Con Ed bill or a water bill, They have been robbed of property that is fully paid for. And so what I want to do is to introduce to you a story of a deed theft, of a property theft involving millions of dollars. And one of the persons who should be inheriting this wealth and being able to pass on this intergenerational wealth is Brother Chief Minister Omar Hardy. I want to welcome you. I want to thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Uhuru, family. Thank you for the opportunity. Empress Betty, thank you for the introduction. And yes, again, Uhuru to the Black is Back family and the Reparations Working Group. I prepared a little, I prepared a situation here. Um, basically, I come to this circle not just as an individual, but as a witness to the brick and mortar history of our struggle. My spirit was forged into the legacy of the slave theater and the Black Lady Theater, places that weren't just buildings, but liberated zones. I'm here to remind us that while the check is overdue, the healing requires more than a balance sheet. We are here to demand reparations, yes, but we are also here to claim restoration and restitution. For decades, spaces like the Slave Theater on Fulton Street served as served as the black house of repre- served as the black house of representatives. It's where it was where we gathered to decolonize our minds and organize our resources. When we talk about the Black is Back movement, we are talking about the spirit of those theaters, a spirit that refused to be silenced by gentrification, legislation, or displacement. But as I look at the state of our people today, I realize that we cannot settle for a narrow definition of what is owed to us. A debt is not just a number, it is a relationship that was broken. To truly move forward, our platform must be threefold. One, reparations. The debt paid, reparations, is the formal acknowledgement and the financial clearing of the ledger. It is the payment for the stolen labor, the stolen lives, and the stolen centuries. It is the what of our movement. Two, restoration. The spirit healed, but money cannot buy back a culture that has been systematically suppressed. We need restoration. This means the rebuilding of our institutions. It means restoring our right to own the land our theaters and all other properties sit on. It means restoring the psychological health of a people who have been told their history began in chains.
Mhm.
You can't just give a man a coat if you've already broken his ribs. You have to heal the body first, right? And three, restitution. The power returned finally. We demand restitution. In law, restitution is about returning the victim to the position they would have been in had the crime never occurred. It is about the return of our autonomy. It is about ensuring that the theaters of our future, our schools, our businesses, our land can never be seized or sold out from under us again. Right? And in closing, we are at a crossroads where the world is finally hearing the word reparations, but they are trying to define it for us. They want to give us a settlement and call it closed. I am here to say the case is not closed until our culture is restored and our sovereignty is restituted. From the stage of the slave theater to this webinar today, the message remains. We are back, we are Black, and we will be made whole. Uhuru, family.
Uhuru.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you so much. And I also just want to remind people, if they got questions, they could put them in the Q&A, and we're going to be going into a Q&A as well. Brother Daoud, is Dr. Horn ready now? And if Brother Daoud, if you're talking, you're muted.
While you're waiting for them, I would like to make it clear that this property is worth millions of dollars, that it was illegally taken from his father, and that he was recently arrested trying to replace his own lock on a second piece of property. And upon calling the police, because someone was illegally putting their lock on his property, the police came and arrested him, and he's facing the possibility of 354 days of incarceration. And it reminds me of the story Queen Mother Moore used to say: when you are political and fighting against colonialism for the people, you had better not spit on the sidewalk, because if that's all they can get you on, they'll give you 200 years for it.
Yep. Sister Betty, I just want to say that we so appreciate the work that is going on in terms of deed theft. This is really serious, but this has always been the history. This has always been the legacy. Every single time we try to advance in any kind of way, they come at us in every way, and one of them is with stealing people's properties. I've seen some of the work that you all have been doing, and it's incredible. I don't even want to use the word incredible, but they literally just change people's locks and arrest them.
It's really disgusting. You know what I mean? Like Empress, like you said, they've been doing these unlawful tactics since before 1619. You know what I mean? So it's imperative that, we continue to come together as a people, provide these platforms, and shine a light on these egregious injustices. We have these invaders coming into our neighborhoods, our communities, and using unlawful tactics. So like that's why I have to give a major shout out to all my elders, my ancestors, for putting up an amazing foundation for us to take the baton and keep it moving. I have to give a major shout out to one of our coalitions, the People Coalition to Stop Deed Theft. We are doing some impactful work in these neighborhoods, right? We had, like I said, these invaders. They're preying on us as a people, but a large majority of our seniors, our elders. They feel, once our elders are, quote unquote, to them in a vulnerable state, they can move on them, right? This is why we cannot allow that old Willie Lynch syndrome to penetrate. You know what I mean? And I know us as a people, we are not doing that, but we have to, keep that momentum going. I got to shine a light on, like what we're doing. We're supporting our elders. And when these people come and they try to unlawfully put them out of their homes, we are putting them back in their homes, because what they're using is they're attaching themselves to the property unlawfully and changing the locks. Right now, like Empress Betty said.
Right.
Go
Excuse
ahead. I'm
me a
sorry.
moment. No,
I
please.
just want to emphasize that in the majority of these cases, the mortgages are paid.
Exactly.
And so the mortgages are worth, in today's currency, 3 million to 4 million easily. And what they are doing is going in some cases, just outright taking the names off the deeds. In other cases, if there's an outstanding tax bill, maybe a couple of $1,000, or an outstanding Con Ed bill, maybe a couple of $100, Or in case of Brooklyn, in Flatbush, it was a $400 water bill. And the particular homeowner did not even realize that the bill had been sent. They never received the water bill in the mail.
Right. I just want, and I want everybody, please hold on to your thoughts. I see that Brother Daoud, who's the chair of the Reparations Working Group, he is with us again. Brother Daoud, if you're able to bring up Dr. Horn, hopefully you can talk, and then we can get into this even more. So if Dr. Horn's able to do his presentation, hopefully this will be, we'll hear, hopefully he'll be able to speak clearly, and then we can get into this more and talk about what we can actually do, like to help our brother who was presenting other things we can do. Brother Daoud, you're muted if you're talking.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I got with Reparations United Front in, I think it was 1983 and or 84, I think. Yeah, after I came out here. And stayed with that group up until recently when it sort of like disbanded. We had the passings of a couple of our members. And, since then I've been working with the Reparations Committee up at the Black Lives Matter organization and looking to see if there's any other reparations movements in the LA area I can unite with. But, the head of our Reparations United Front in California, Los Angeles, California, is a college professor, and he has wears many hats. But this is Dr. David Horn, and he was the leader of our reparations organization, the Reparations United Front. So I invited him to come on since we were talking about reparations, and we've been, at this reparations issue a long time, trying to educate different people and, get the word out, like, come join us, because we need like all the soldiers we can get, for this fight. So without further ado, I introduce you to Dr. David Horn, professor of history and politics at Cal State University, Dominguez.
Dr. Horn? And are you able to turn your camera on, Dr. Horn? We'd love to see your wonderful, powerful face. And if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Dr. Horn, are you able to put anything in the chat? Because we are not able to hear you at all if you're speaking.
Well, it doesn't seem to be. I'm not sure what exactly what the issue is. I'm asking him to start his video. I'm not sure if he can see that or not. And asking him to unmute. And I'm not sure. I don't see him, but I think that what we can do is what I would like to move us, if possible. I don't know if people. I would suggest that everyone get a copy of The Verdict is In, Reparations Now. It was written by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who, of course, is the chairman of the African People's Socialist Party and leader of the Uhuru movement. And he also leads the Black is Back Coalition for Social Justice, Peace, and Reparations. And the book is an account of the 1982 World Tribunal on Reparations for African People that was held in Brooklyn, New York in 1982. And if I could, I'd like to read the preface from that book, and then I would like for us to show just some of the testimony, because there is not one area of our lives as African people or Black people that has not been affected as a result of the theft of human beings, of ourselves from Africa. And I will start by saying that history was made in 1982 when the first International Tribunal on Reparations to Black people in the U.S. was convened in Brooklyn, New York. The tribunal was held at a time when many people knew little about reparations, a time when the Black liberation movement was still reeling from the U.S. government's military assault that assassinated leaders, imprisoned activists, and destroyed organizations in the 1960s. And decades later, in 2013, the fact that the concept of reparations for African people is now a household word debated on mainstream media can be traced back to the profound proceedings that played out in the auditorium of Brooklyn Technical College on the weekend of November 13th and 14th of 1982. The tribunal was convened by the African People's Socialist Party Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who served as the People's Advocate. Grounded in accepted international law, the two-day proceedings featured wide-ranging testimonies from African people, working-class organizers, and professional experts alike. What I'd like to do is show the clip, please, and you will hear from Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who was served as the People's Advocate, from Joe Mashariki, from Mafundi Lake, from Akil, Al-Jundi, and from Afeni, Shakur. And this is just a brief excerpt, but it certainly addresses the reason why reparations are due and just some of the worst atrocities that Africans have faced. Uhuru.
On November 13th and 14th of 1982, the African National Reparations Organization, a mass organization of the African People's Socialist Party, organized and conducted a World Tribunal on reparations for Black people. Addressing the question debated across the U.S. today, are African people owed reparations? Listen to the testimonies from this tribunal and you decide.
Today, we are initiating a two-day trial of the United States government for crimes it has committed against the Black or African population of the United States. Today, we are initiating a two-day process which is remarkable and historic in its implication for the use of international law as a means of addressing the crimes against oppressed people who do not have the benefit of state power and the use of national and international courts, which are traditionally only available to those groups who do possess state power. To withhold the right to justice and international legality to the powerless, oppressed African people in the United States would be to validate the most cynical concept that might makes right. It would give credence and validity to the awful concept of the right of the powerful to make and enforce international law. Such law as that is no law at all. It is accepted tyranny. Therefore, this World Tribunal must determine whether international morality might prevail in the interest of the powerless. This tribunal will determine whether, even in the absence of state power, the rights of the oppressed will be recognized as rights which may be respected in the form of applied international law.
On November 13th and 14th of 1982, Black people from around the United States and the world came together at an international tribunal in New York to hear evidence, historical, statistical, and personal, on the right of black people in the U.S. to receive reparations from the U.S. government. Before an international panel of judges and observers representing popular movements in the Congo, Senegal, Barbados, the United States, and Tanzania, 14 hours of documentation and testimony was presented to support the charge that African people experienced genocide. This was not a mock trial. International law was laid out and legal procedures followed. This international law consisted of charters and treaties passed by the United Nations after World War II to hold governments accountable to the world community. The judges heard the charges, followed the evidence, cross-examined witnesses, and rendered a verdict. Testimony was put forth under the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, which has been ratified by a majority in the United Nations, but which the United States Senate has refused to ratify for fear of being charged before world courts concerning the cases of Native American and African people in the U.S.
The Genocide Convention declares as punishable crimes any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, killing members of the group, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, imposing measures intended to prevent births within the group, forcibly transferring children of the group to another group.
The first testimony came from Dr. Leonard Jeffries, chairman of the Black Studies Department of the City College of New York, who detailed the birth of civilization in Africa and the subsequent impact of the raiding slave merchants.
For 40 or 50 years, the Portuguese had been touching the coast of Africa, and they knew the riches of the culture and civilizations that had been developed there. The civilizations of Ife and Benin that produced the art, which is as classical as any art ever produced. The civilization that produced the city-states of Nigeria and the city-states of other parts of Africa. These Portuguese, being land poor, resource poor, and people poor, had to have their mind blown when they got to the Gold Coast. So the Portuguese in 1482 came back to Africa and established a permanent base, which became the beginning of the process of genocide that saw 100 million Africans destroyed. That permanent base was called Elmina of St. George. And after that period, hundreds of slave forts were built along the African coast. In Ghana alone, along a 200-mile stretch, there are the remnants today of 50 slave forts and castles, some of them only a few miles from each other, as the European blood sucked the African continent. In that 50-year turning point of history, when Europe moved from the periphery of world history, from its dark ages, onto center stage, and moved out African and Southern Asian and Indian peoples, the roots of that which we have to deal with today in terms of the condition of our people are there. They come out of the slave trade system, which, as Walter Rodney says, went to the development of Europe and the underdevelopment of Africans. In this 50-year period of history, you have the basis of genocide, the basis of religious intolerance, the basis of fascism. But I don't want to leave us historically with a negative note. The last period of history is 1900 to the present. 1900 to the present is the period of the African Renaissance. 1900 to the present is the period of the African Revolution. And Garvey and others understood this. The revolutions in Mozambique, Angola, and Guinea-Bissau, the revolutions taking place around Tanzania and Namibia, the movements in the Caribbean around Grenada, etc., the Cuban Revolution, the struggles of peoples on the streets of Harlem and Bedford-Stuy. These are all part of the renaissance and rebirth of African peoples. And although a genocidal process existed in history, we are reversing that genocidal process by moving into an African revolutionary consciousness.
In addition, a historical brief was submitted with documentation of extensive economic research on the amount of wealth stolen from the labor of African people held as slaves in the U.S. Wealth which was the basis of the U.S. economy for its first 100 years and which gave birth to the capitalist economic system. Estimates of wealth stolen from African people's labor through the special structures of tenant farming, wage discrimination, and the dual labor market were also made for the years following the abolition of formal chattel slavery. A minimum estimate of the wealth stolen from black people for labor alone leaving out charges for damages incurred through murder, maiming, and rape, amounted to $4.1 trillion. Joe Mashariki, chairman of the Black Veterans for Social Justice, brought out detailed information on the use of black troops to enforce U.S. power around the world, at the same time that black people are suffering under the rule of that state power in the U.S.
The United States government is guilty of mass genocide and degradation against Africans here in America. The economic wealth and development of this country was built on the backs of black slave labor. All persons who enjoy the fruits of the so-called democracy today enjoy it at the expense of black blood, sweat, tears, and lives. As an organization of veterans from World War II to Vietnam War who fought in these wars, our motto is blacks fight no one else's war no more. We have adopted this motto because of our experience in this country. However, this motto doesn't exclude us from fighting our own war. I want to be clear on that. Such as in Tanzania, Namibia, Mississippi, or New York. People who know the anti-war movement know that the type of internal chaos that took place in the military, which helped to stop the war, and that came from people right here in our communities. The whole white anti-war movement couldn't get off the ground until blacks refused. More blacks refused to go into the military during the Vietnam War than whites, 8-2.
Evidence was also brought forth under the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, which states in part,
State parties undertake to prohibit and to eliminate racial discrimination in all its forms and to guarantee the right of everyone without distinction as to race, color, or national or ethnic origin to equality before the law, notable the enjoyment of the following rights: the right to equal treatment before the tribunals and all other organs administering justice, the right to security of person and protection by the state against violence or bodily harm, whether inflicted by government officials or by an individual, group, or institution.
Testifying on conditions for black people in southern prisons was Richard Mafundi Lake.
They wouldn't allow me any reading material for 12 years. They took and put me in a cell, 5-by-8 cell, without benefit of any writing material, reading material, radio, TV, non-cellmate for 12 years. Only thing was in that strip cell was a face basin where you only cold water, running cold water. There was no bed. It was a concrete slab block. And the only time I came out of that cell was to go to a shower for 5 minutes. And if you wasn't through showering in 5 minutes, the water was cut off on you. You didn't have any control of the water. That was for 12 years. And the only way I maintained my sanity was to play mental games with myself. I learned how to play chess without a board. I wouldn't allow them to destroy me. I was placed, I think it was 21 days that I was forced to go without bread or water. I was in a cell, stripped, winter time, sub-zero degree weather, and there was no heating, no ventilation. I was forced to lie on that concrete block, and then the guards would come by for additional punishment and throw water on the floor. It would get so cold that the only way I could sleep, I would just run in my cell until I was just completely exhausted, and I would just fall out from exhaustion and sleep. You see the little blocks in the toilet tissue? They used to give us 3 blocks, actually count the blocks of toilet tissue. And I used to take the 3 blocks of toilet tissue and lie on that cold floor and put it on my chest and psych myself that I was covering myself with a blanket. You know, under severe conditions, a person play all kind of mental games with himself in order to survive.
Further evidence on the government's violation of this international convention was put forth by Akil Al-Jundi, who was a participant in the Attica Rebellion in New York.
On September the 9th, 1971, at Attica State Prison, there had been a unanimous decision by over 1,200 prisoners at Attica. And that position was that because of all the racism that had existed at Attica and the prison system within New York State and in the entire country, that it was a need for something to happen. On September the 9th, 1971, we took to the yard 1,281 strong. On September the 13th, 1971, 43 people lost their lives as an outcome of the rebellion. Now, we know that rebellions go on at different times, and what they do is they escalate our particular level of struggle. In this particular case, raised the question of prisons, prisoners, and the relationship of prisons to black folk, particularly in the wilderness of North America. There is a suit right now that is pending, and this civil suit is demanding $2.8 billion from the Rockefeller estate, because we remember that the governor at the time of the rebellion was none other than Nelson Aldrich Rockefeller. And we want to give to the international body our suit so that the world will not forget what happened at Attica.
And Afeni Shakur, a member of the Grand Jury Project and former defendant in the New York Panther 21 trial in 1969, brought forth extensive evidence concerning COINTELPRO attacks against the black liberation struggle.
My nephew was beginning first grade in 1968, and that was the year of the infamous UFT teacher strike in this city. And here, thousands of children were left without schools, and so people across this city got together and set up alternative programs. The Black Panther Party was very much involved in that struggle, and I joined that struggle in 1968. By April of 1969, I was in jail, charged with some 350 felonies, including conspiracy to do just about everything there is to conspire to do. We were all acquitted. The state of New York wasted $1.5 million in trying to send us all to jail, but their conspiracy did not end there, and some of them are now political prisoners. It's important for us, however, to begin by understanding what a counterintelligence program really is. A counterintelligence program is a military operation. One goal of any counterintelligence program is to neutralize a hostile agent. The United States government considers all elements of the Black Liberation Movement hostile agents. When the counterintelligence program was aimed at the Black Liberation Movement, there was only one heading in which all black people fell, and that heading is called Black Hate Extremist Groups. And under that heading fell the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, SCLC, SNCC, CORE, the Black Panther Party, of course, Malcolm X, and anybody that fell any place within those parameters. And that, I believe, covers the general trend existing in any black family and in any black community.
Mr. King, I think that about covered what you wanted us to show.
Yes, Uhuru, thank you so much.
My God.
Again, that is actual testimony from the 1982 World Tribunal on Reparations for African People that was led by the African People's Socialist Party and Chairman Omali Yeshitela, who is the leader and founder of the African People's Socialist Party as well as the Uhuru movement. So if there is any question, about reparations, and those testimonies are evidence of the atrocities that we have faced as an African people. It looks like Professor Horn was able to get his camera on. Can you say something, and we can see if we can hear you now, Professor Horn?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. We can hear you
Yes,
better.
we can.
Right. Are you able to center your camera a little bit? Center yourself within the camera.
Okay. I'm not trying to be seen anyway.
You know, now we're hearing a static again and interference.
You're hearing? Okay.
Can we ask you, Professor, are you able to remove your headphones? Because sometimes that can create interference. If you're able to remove your headphones.
Okay.
Are your headphones plugged into the computer?
All right, because we're not hearing you at all now unless you are just not speaking.
Professor Hunt, could you try saying something? We can't hear you at all.
Yeah, we're not hearing you at all now, Professor Horn. And if you could check your email, I sent directly to you panelist information because I see that you're joining with Brother Daoud's link, and I think that may be part of what is causing it not to be, not for us not to get a clear connection. Because now we're not hearing you at all. What I would like to propose that we do while we are continuing to try and work on this, we encourage people to put any questions and or comments in the chat, and encourage everyone to join the Black is Back Coalition. Maybe we can put that graphic up, Sister Lisa, for anyone.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me.
Okay.
Oh, you know, when you guys got to rely on me for tech, it ain't. You're not having. I'm not the best one. Hold on a moment. I'm sorry. Let me turn this off.
But please go to www.blackisbackcoalition.org/join. You can join as an individual. It's just $25 annually, or you can join as an organization, whether it be state, local, international, etc. All of the information is there in terms of how it is that you can join. And we certainly encourage people to join the working groups. There is not just the reparations working group, but there is the youth and student working group. There.
I didn't bring up, well, here are some of the membership levels. I was trying to bring up the working groups. Let me just see if I can go back out and bring up the working groups as you talk. Keep talking, Sister Kenge.
Yes. Again, there's the youth and not just the reparations working group, but there's the youth and student working group. If you stop sharing your screen, it might be easier.
Right. I thought I stopped
Um,
sharing it. Okay.
no, there's the Youth and Student Working Group. There is, of course, the Reparations Working Group. There's the Political Action Working Group. There's Outreach, which I really encourage everyone uh, to share whatever information it is that they may find through our outreach working group. There's a political prisoner working group, there's a healthcare working group, and there is the Black Community Control of Police working group. And you'll see it there on your screen. I encourage everyone that if you are not a member, one, to become a member, and two, to join one of the working groups. I see Professor Horn. Maybe we can try now, see if we can hear you. Professor Horn. Uh-oh, he's putting something in the chat. Okay, I'm not, yeah, it doesn't look like we're able to make that connection. But while we're doing that, what I think we can do is these webinars are not just talk fests for us, they are to propel us to action. And in order to be able to move and continue to carry out our work, we need resources. I'd like for, today we need to raise $200 that will help further the work, help us be able to produce literature. We want to get a piece done on reparations that we can begin circulating in our community. So if you will go to the blackisbackcoalition.org website, click the donate button. And if you're on, you can certainly put in the chat how much you can donate. There's how you can join. You certainly can mail a check to 4101 West Florissant Avenue, the St. Louis, Missouri, and the zip code is 63115. You're welcome to mail a donation there. Can you locate the donate screen on how people can donate?
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find that.
It should be right in that same. The one before that, number 40.
Number 40. That's what I had. Number 40 was. Oh, I see. Hold on. Oh, I thought I had stopped sharing, you guys. I'm sorry.
Again, yeah, if you go online, if you want to give online, go to the www.blackisbackcoalition.org/donate. We do have Cash App. Our Cash App is $BIBCOA. Again, we want to raise $200 as a result of this webinar. You can pay by check, and you can make the check payable to the Black is Back or BIBC. You would mail it care of the BIB to myself, Ikinge Maele, at 4101 West Florissant. It's actually West Florissant Avenue. That's St. Louis, Missouri. The zip code is 63115. Put in your memo line of your check that it's for the Black is Back.
Sister Kenge, one of the things I'd like to emphasize is that the reason we need webinars like this is the issue of deed theft and the way it impacted the slave theater. That has been a pattern that's used across the United States. And I also want to connect it to the fact that in St. Louis, the Black Power Blueprint is one of the reparations answers to this type of destruction of our intergenerational wealth. In terms of Brooklyn, one of the senators, Senator Myrie in New York City, has estimated that more than 200,000 people of African descent that formerly resided in Brooklyn, both from owning their own homes and from being tenants, have been ethnically cleansed out of Brooklyn. Now you need to do that math. 20 years, 200,000 people. So this is not a coincidence. This is policy. And the reason the slave theater issue is so important is the way they attacked Chief Omar's father. He was targeted. And I don't know if the Brother Omar, of course, he'll stop speaking when Professor Horn is available to get on. But do you want to tell them just how they targeted your father, Chief Omar?
Sure, absolutely. Not only my father, but well, with the situation, I am the heir apparent of Judge John L. Phillips Jr., who's the founder of the slave theater, and my father, Clarence Jr. 2X Hardy Shabazz, who is partners with Judge Phillips, right? So what happened was it was an initial target on Judge John L. Phillips, right? As we know, you don't get that title judge overnight, right? So Judge Phillips, he was somebody who we can consider like the spook who sat near the door, right? He put these institutions in place for us as a people, right? The slave theater, the Black Lady Theater. So when Judge Phillips when he retired, he made an attempt to run for district attorney, which is another powerful position, right? And when Judge Phillips made this run, he had the money, the backing, everything that it took to make a great run. And he was kidnapped, right? He was kidnapped out of Brooklyn. They stole well over $200 million from the estate corporation and put Judge Phillips in captivity. So with them taking Judge Phillips out of Brooklyn, this put like a void, right? Judge Phillips and my father, they did business like 5 days out of the week. So, when they kidnapped Judge Phillips, my father was like, he was wondering, where's Judge Phillips? What's going on? Right? So, again, that was targeted, right? Because again, that district attorney position is very powerful. Charles Hines, who was the sitting district attorney at the time, he did not want to give up that seat, right? And it went from Charles Hines to Ken Thompson, who he mysteriously passed, and now you have Eric Gonzalez there. But all of these different public servants, they have violated their fiduciary obligation, right? These are our public servants, right? And all of them admitted. They admitted in open forums, they admitted in public as to what was done, right? And they told us, they said, listen, you all have the ability to take down the whole criminal justice system, and they don't want that to happen, right? So again, these forums is needed. What we have to continue to do is unite as a people, because these invaders, they doing exactly what they supposed to do. It's up to us to do what we have to do,
And I want to emphasize also is that there are many ways to fight against oppression. And what makes this Chief Omar's family so unique is that they created a theatrical production called We Shall Not Be Moved, depicting the actual horrors and the methodology behind deed theft. And many people, when they think of intergenerational wealth, you say, oh, these bushy Black people, listen, we can't afford to live there. No. The majority of the homes that were taken in Brooklyn were 2- and 3-family homes that housed Black tenants because they charged reasonable working class rents. As you know, most Europeans do not want to rent from a Black homeowner of a 2-family, 3-family house because that's too intimate for them to be living with us. They don't want that because of their racism. But it was a perfect solution to the Republic of Brooklyn, especially the first generation Black and brown immigrants coming to Brooklyn. Reasonable rents is what was being charged. So it's not just a question of intergenerational wealth that we are discussing here. We are discussing about the destruction of an entire community. And this is mirrored all across the United States. This is not just New York, it's also Harlem. This is not just New York City, it's also California. In the most recent fires that were happening in California, one of them was a historic Black community. And this Black community actually had land trust rights. They had insurance for being made whole when a fire happened. And as of the last time I saw anything online from this community, the insurance company had not released their funds so that they could restore their community. And this is over a year since these major fires have happened. So one of the things that is dangerous, according to Charles Darwin, is for you not to see patterns.
Right.
And the whole issue of fighting for reparations is to, as this last documentary showed, you have to see the patterns. This didn't just happen to us coming out of chattel slavery in the 16 and 1700s. This happened to us again in the deed theft.
Sister Betty, one of the things that I want to bring up, and Dr. Horn, I don't know if you're able to get on or not.
No, Uhuru, Sister Lisa, but we do have Brother Yusef with Joko Collective on, as well as Sister Tasha. I know that Brother Yusef would like to join this conversation. If I could just read his bio briefly.
Oh, certainly.
Okay. Let me open it here. It says, Brother Yusef has been a faculty member of the Santa Monica College English Department for 27 years. He co-founded and facilitated the Diamse Writers Workshop at Santa Monica, California with DJ Watson, the third Root Writers Workshop in Pomona, California, with Lisa Marie Rollins, a poetry reading series at the Velocity Cafe in Santa Monica, California with Edgar Montgomery, and produced several readings and performances at the City Market of Los Angeles Gallery. All projects of the Uwingi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Artists Collective. He programmed and co-hosted Liberation Cinema with Carl DeJohn and a monthly third cinema project at the Afiba Center in South Los Angeles from 2014 until interrupted by the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic. He's a member of Joko Collective, a grassroots community education project. You can check them out on YouTube and Instagram. And his work has been published in several anthologies and poetry journals. And the World Stage Press published a collection of his poetry, Black Dot Clubhouse, in November 2021. And Optopon Books published his collection, An Open Mouth, in April 2024. Yusef completed a PhD in Cultural Studies at Claremont Graduate University, and his dissertation focuses on the Performing Arts Society of Los Angeles and the Black theater movement in Los Angeles of the 1960s and 1970s. Uhuru, Brother Yusef.
Uhuru, Brother Yusef.
Uhuru. I didn't realize I was up so soon, but I just wanted to make sure you all had the updated bio blurb. But I'm happy to jump in right now, and I'm really hoping that Dr. Horn, that we're able to figure out the text so we can hear from Dr. Horn, because I know he's been in the struggle specifically for quite a while. But you know what, I just really want to kind of co-sign on some of the things we've heard here. And I was trying to find some notes that I made some time back. on a presentation that Cam Howard made on reparations, because he clarified, and I've heard that referenced here, or at least some of the things he pointed out, that reparations is so much more than a check that we might get, right? That than the restitution, right? It's all those other things, also like cessation, right? The first part of reparations, they need to stop what they're doing right now, and otherwise it's just piling on as they continue. And some of the other things I've heard in terms of cessation of the oppressive actions and apparatus, a restitution of of our condition, all these various areas of reparations before we even get to the compensation for the stolen labor, the stolen land, the stolen patents. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. But and then the way that Brother Daoud started, right, with attention to the legal aspects. I recall a conversation we had as part of the Joko Collective, and this was, this was early 2020, and in conversation with some folks representing the ADOS movement, and some kind of concern about whether the wrong people might get reparations. But the fact is, we're all owed reparations wherever we are.
That's right.
And we have enough brilliant lawyers that we can work out who owes whom what. They all owe us everything, but there are that can be worked out, though, the details of the reparations, because we aren't owed only by the government of the United States. Right. Some of our ancestors were colonized and enslaved under the British flag. Some of our ancestors were colonized and enslaved under the French flag, under the Spanish flag, under the Portuguese flag, under the Dutch flag. Right. So, and I'm talking about those of us who are often identified as African Americans, with recent roots in the old Confederacy and the Eastern Seaboard, not in the Caribbean, not in Latin America. But we also know through the work of our historians that the United States owes folks in the Caribbean, folks in Cuba, folks in Brazil, reparations because of the if nothing else, never mind the crimes of the 20th century and now the 21st century, just through the trade in human beings between the United States, Cuba, and Brazil. So we got the lawyers who can figure out all the details of who's getting reparations from whom. But a thing that always, always comes back to me in my thinking is the way in which reparations is going to have to be a process or delivered through a process of revolution. Because under the current system, they will use every legal trick they can to frustrate reparations or to try to buy us off for way less than is due. The reparations made to the Japanese families, right, the Japanese American families, for the internment during World War II was it was really an insult in terms of what was lost by that community, that was really more important politically for its symbolic features, right, and a victory for the for Senator Inouye, right, of Hawaii, to have some kind of victory, but it was a pittance, right, and so we can't, we got to be careful of accepting a pittance of what is owed, push the movement to its limit and recognize that true reparations are going to come to the entire African world and other communities and colonized nations that that deserve reparations only after a process of revolution, seizing sovereignty, back over our lives and our lands, and then being able to make demands of the empire for the reparations owed. So, I mean, that's a contribution I'd like to make to this discussion. And I know we're here together as Joko Collective, so I don't mean to put you on the spot, but Tasha, if you're ready to jump in, or if y'all want to read Tasha's bio before she jumps in.
Brother Yusef, just before we go to Tasha, I just want to say, I want to give a shout out to Brother Larry Wells. I know so many Larrys, I always want to confuse everybody's name, but he made a contribution of $100, which means we're $100 away. If people could give it $5, $10, I'll jump in with $5. I'll Cash App it. One thing about Cash App, you just do it immediately and it's gone. You don't get a chance to even think about it. So I'm gonna put me in for $5. And also, I just want to say to Sister Betty and to Brother Chief Minister, please also tell us before we get off this webinar what we can actually do. If there's some actions you need us to take to support you, dear brother, because I know that you're facing something really serious. And then Sister Tasha, if you want to get on now, unfortunately, because I usually have all these bios ready, which I don't happen to have this one in front of me. Brother Yusef, Sister Tasha, do you want to come on and tell us something about yourself? She is also, she's with the Joko Collective. She, members of the Black is Back Coalition, a very strong and fierce warrior. Sister Tasha, do you want to tell us something about yourself?
Let's see. Is this working? Okay.
I love
Yeah.
your hair.
Thank you. Greetings, everyone. I don't have anything there. This is on the spot and totally unexpected. I don't have to add by way of bio. Hello, brethren and sister, and you've seen me, you know I work with Brother Yusef in LA with the Joko Collective, and we do that which we do. The only question I would raise for a bit of feedback or spitballing around this around this question of reparations and questions of claiming reparations, and with all of the communities that Brother Yusef mentioned, and the in this the world of the European and all of that, and all the communities that are represented in the diaspora. And, in our localities, right, in the US, something that the ADOS folk and probably the general DBA folk and have been very foundational Black American, I should say. Something that they've been very successful at is they reach the Black community, they propagandized their talking points quite well, in this spirit of divisiveness and what a Black American nativism, none of those terms of which I validate, but I think it's a good description, right? This whole notion of, it very much reduced to a conversation of, they don't get any. Those Africans coming here and immigrating and Black folk coming in from these other Black countries, they don't have our stuff. They can't have our stuff. And they, this is not their space to gather reparations. And it absolutely is a ongoing and current debate, even within, in California, as reparations legislation is being contemplated. Having said all of that, a question I have is, how can we be more effective and strategic in promoting our talking points about in all of this context about reparations, not just a check, because literally their slogan, right, is "Where's my check?" or "Write me a check," or what have you. And that's fundamentally my question. How can African internationalists be more strategic about representing the, through effective talking points, social media, et cetera, a more correct understanding of the reparations project and of the collectivity in that project? And that's my input there. Thank you.
I see, Mama Fatima, you have your hand up. Did you want to address this what Sister Tasha was saying? Or maybe you could, if you want to ask your question, and then we could have a discussion about what Sister Tasha
No,
just said.
I would like to elaborate on what the beautiful Sister Tasha has just said, because it's a concern that I deeply share. The problem that I see is absolutely the internationalist and full-blown approach to understanding the wickedness of this Euro-American power structure, which is a world, so is absolutely correct. But here's the problem. Sometimes correctness is not accepted because of the environment and the conditions that are shaping people's minds. We aren't the only ones that were brainwashed. So whereas we may study, we may come in contact with really revolutionary thinking people from the continent, the average person in the Black community encounters an immigrant that's just a capitalist immigrant that's here to make money and is treating them like dirt. So it sets a perception in their mind. We can preach internationalism all we want to, but what I feel needs to be put in place in this day and time is strategies for helping to very quickly heal that wound, teach that international perspective, and explain, just like we're acting crazy, they are, some of them are too, and introduce them to the more revolutionary people. The other thing is, there's a perception, I am not thinking that it's right, but it's at work in people's mind, and unfortunately, in many cases, their life experience is that what this system has done has pitted our immigrant population, which there ain't no such thing as an immigrant. We're all on stolen property. I do understand that too. But for lack of a better way of expressing it, that, hey, we got the same enemy. We're going to have to come up with a strategic, and I mean very quickly come up with a strategic process for really teaching the community. It's got to come off the campuses. It can't just come. We got to get back boots on our ground into the most oppressed segments of the Black community. And that itself, I'm just being real, is a danger, because our lower class Black communities, which I'm a part of, okay, we have a government. It's called Crips, Bloods, and anybody with a gun big enough to blow your brains out. We got child soldiers that are being bred to perpetuate the distribution of poison in our communities. And in some cases, the so-called immigrant capitalist storekeepers and whatnot are helping to bring the stuff in that's poisoning us. So we can't just function on an ideal. We got to find a way to make international internationalism real. It can't come out of a book anymore. It's got to come out from strategic action. I will never forget a young man. I was arguing with the dealers and almost got my fool self killed, arguing with the dealers. This has been 20 something years ago. It wasn't near as vicious then as it is now, about selling crack at my door. I had children. Other people in our building had children. I couldn't stop. I just asked them, said, look, please stop selling this stuff in front of our door. And they was upset with me. So I came home from work one day and one of their lieutenants or captains or whatever had the crack in his hand. And he said to me, now, he said, now, Miss Fatima, we got children too. And I said, look, it ain't like that. I said, I don't have sons, but if I have sons, I really, really would not want to see them in jail for life or their brains blowed out. I'm not judging anybody. We all messed up down here.
Right.
And he said, let me just finish. I'm almost finished. And he said, well, Miss, I don't want to see you in jail. He said, Miss Fatima, if I don't sit in here and sell this crack, he said, I'm going to jail for child support anyway. Which one do you want me to go to jail for? And I couldn't answer him then. I can't answer him now. But I can say this. I quote Malcolm X on this. If the American gangster ever becomes conscious, he said, this country white America will be in some serious trouble. We got to change some strategies of how we are approaching our own people. Thank you.
Uhuru, I so unite with that. I really do. But I just want to say, because I know I think we're coming up on the at the close of the time we have for this. And there are some things, and Brother Daoud, of course, you as the chair, please jump in. But there are just some things I think within this particular webinar that we can maybe kind of hit home on. But everything that was raised is so important. And Sister Mama Fatima, what you were raising about the youth and getting out there, boots on the ground, and working with our people, boots on the ground, changing helping to change and infuse their belief system with some hard-hitting political ideology, because we need the warriors that you just mentioned. We need them. We want them on our side. So I just wanted to.
Can I say something?
Brother Daoud? Yes, please do. And Sister Ikenge, please tell us how we are for time.
Can you see and hear me?
Yes, very well.
Okay, yeah, all right. We were in a meeting yesterday, and there's a pamphlet that we're going to put together and whatnot, on reparations. And, we're going to, get it published and all that, but we're going to have it so that we can give it to people and whatnot whenever they come to, our functions, or whether we go out to somewhere, that's public, and, we could pass them out and stuff like that. But, that would be the starting of the education of reparations, that we were talking about earlier, So that's one of the projects that we have up and coming as the reparations working group.
Right. And also I want to say, I know we had some technical issues because we did not hear Dr. Horn. And I had the chance to meet him about 20 something years ago when we were in Compton. I think that's when I first met you, and he is so powerful. So evidently this is not going to be the last webinar. This ain't the first rodeo. It ain't going to be the last.
This is going to be a first in a series. Okay.
Yes, because we got to hear Professor Dr. David Horn. So we're going to make sure that we do that. But Sister Ikenge, how are we on time? And
do need to begin wrapping up. I want to make sure that we thank everyone that donated. We still need $85 more. So if we can, people that haven't, if you have it to give, please, so that we can make our goal for the day. I don't see any other questions in the chat. I want to check on, see if we have anything on Facebook. But I really want to also too just appreciate the reparations working group for this webinar. And again, as we said, it will be just this is one in a series, and I look forward to working with the reparations working group to put together some materials that we can begin circulating in our communities so that we can continue to educate our communities on what reparations is, because I think everyone in this process at least has united that it's more than just a check. It's not. If it was that simple, I'm sure they would think of a way to be able to to cut checks and hand them out to whomever they anticipated, whoever they determined they would be worthy of them. But we know that it's much more than that. So I want to also to just reiterate point number 6 from the National Black Political Agenda for Self-Determination, which can be found on the Black is Back website. And point number 6 on reparations says, we demand reparations consistent with international norms regarding redress for crimes against humanity. This includes enslavement, colonialism, and apartheid, from which we suffer up to today. The totality of the repair, according to international law, must include policies, programs, and projects that cease ongoing racial crimes, offer restitution and return us to wholeness, provide compensation that allows for a quality standard of life as well as individual and collective wealth creation, ensure satisfaction that returns our dignity, achieves rehabilitation for the heart, mind, body, and spirit, injuries resulting from the centuries of trauma and abuse. I just really think when we talk about reparations, we're talking about the totality of every African that is on the planet Earth being made whole in every facet, of their life. So again, I just want to appreciate the reparations working group for this webinar. And again, we got about $85 more we still need to raise. So if people can continue to give as we begin to close out, if you will also to Chair Daoud, please communicate our sincere apologies to Dr. Horn. I did everything I knew how to do in order to resolve the issue, but we will have him back again another
We'll catch him
time.
on the next one.
So
Catch
if
him
you
on the
wanted
next one.
to close us out, I think that'd be great.
But also, I just want to say, I just want to ask in terms of, is there anything that we can do that you can tell us we can do, Chief Minister or Sister Betty, because I know he's got a case coming up very serious. Is there anything we can do here that you want us to do to support the Chief Minister?
Yes, definitely. Thank you for asking. We can, as we are, trying to get the funds together right now for what's being asked, the $85. The funds is a great tool that we need. We need funds as well. And at a now or at a later date, if anybody could go to our stopdeedtheft.org and donate there.
Stopdeedtheft.org?
Yes, ma'am. And also, we do something called Court Watch, to where we show up for the families and the people that are dealing with these egregious acts, because these judges, they are participating in the dehumanization. So it's best for when we show up and support each other, because the our people are witnesses, because judges, they don't operate in the candor that they're supposed to. right? So when we have our people show up, it applies a different level of pressure. Um, this is even what got me to the point. My team, they got me to the point to where I'm running for district leader, right? District leader is a very prominent position that helps to get these judges into seat. So we need our people to fill these judiciary areas, so our neighborhoods and our communities aren't, again, aren't dehumanized. So if anybody is in the Brooklyn area, Assembly, specifically Assembly District 56, please look out for me there. And yeah, I heard also mentioning about the print material. If we can support in any way where we can match or beat any prices, we would do that. Like right now, I'm in my printing studio. We own a printing company as well. So the thing is, like Marcus Garvey said, we have to be able to print our own media. And that's
Exactly.
and that's something that my father was very instrumental with. So like the printing company actually started inside of the theater. So when they unlawfully displaced us from our home, our brick and mortar, we were able to still keep the business going. So I didn't understand how instrumental the printing business industry is, but it is. So, if we could support in that capacity, let's keep it in the circle.
Great.
We'll do that, and also be on the lookout for our different events as well. Like we just did the event Displaced, We Shall Not Be Moved. We do have some other events coming up.
Great. But just to repeat that website, so people can go to Stop Deed Theft. That's DEED theft.org. And
That's correct.
right, and also just to let you know, because we have the electoral campaign school that will be coming up in May. So if you're running for something, you might want to look out. You might want to reach out to us about that too, because the people that adopt a 19-point platform, any candidate that adopts a 19-point platform and represents our issues, and they seek an endorsement from us, that's something that we can do. So just one more time, in terms how much have we raised this week, Kenge, so far?
We've got $75 left to raise.
$75 left to raise.
$25.
I'm gonna donate 10. This is
all
Ray.
right.
I got it, Brother Ray. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ray.
I tried, but then I went to the Cash app and it kicked me off, so I can't do it while we're on for some reason.
Okay. All right. You can do it after.
You
All
ain't
right.
gonna be letting Cash App kick you off.
Yep. So, Brother Daoud, you want to close us out so we can?
Yeah, before we do that, I like to share with the audience and whatnot some books that I read.
Oh yes.
And I've learned about reparations over the years, and the first one is called "The Betrayal of the Negro" by Dr. Rayford Logan, and he goes through all the things that happened with us in history, and reasons why reparations should be paid for those crimes, right?
Betrayal of the Negro?
Yes, The Betrayal of the Negro, Dr. Rayford W. Logan.
Okay.
All right. Next is 100 Years of Lynchings. Now, I don't know, this is a hard read because, they describe all the lynchings that,
book.
in our history. And, it just makes you angry and sad, and I don't know if you really don't messing with either one of those emotions and whatnot. Don't read this book, but it is historically accurate and good source of information as to why we should have reparations and get reparations. Okay, the Marxist Party and whatnot has put together a book called Marxism, Reparations in the Black Freedom Struggle. And that's by a sister by the name of Monica Moorhead, who lives here locally. She put this book out with her organization, and it's all about our struggle, and just like some of the other books that I just mentioned and whatnot, our struggle, in this country, and why we should get reparations. Okay. Next is Black Labor, White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson. And he talks about how, through, slavery, or I should say our enslavement, white people were able to build their empires, and use us and whatnot to do all that building, and not pay us a dime. So this is that and some other points that he wants to bring forth about, reparations and, the reasons why we should have reparations. And this one is called The Debt by Randall Robinson. Okay. And this is the first reparations book that I ever bought, but it's titled The Debt, What America Owes to Blacks. And this is another good read, a lot of information historically and all that. So, you're going to get a good overview of the reparations issue from Dr. Randall Robinson. And last but not least, we have the chairman's book.
Oh, yes.
Reparations Now. The verdict is in. Okay. So this is Dr. Omali Yeshitela's book. And, it's just as all-encompassing as all the ones that I just mentioned. But, he goes into the history a little bit more and stuff like that. But, it's a great book. If you want to educate yourself on reparations, then you got to get some of these books. I'm telling you,
Maybe, Brother Daoud, I'll
put the titles in the chat with the authors you want that you can pick it up from there if you want. Okay?
I'll just make a suggestion that maybe the reparations working group can come out with a recommended reading list that we can just have and publish and send around to folks.
Well, that was the first one.
Oh, no, definitely. No, great. That's an excellent idea. That's why I got it from you. I mean, it would be great to write all these things and just have stuff we can send out to folks. Also, I just want to remind people that because there's some good information in the chat, I know that Brother Chief Minister Omar Hardy put in some information about how we can reach out to him and support what he's going through. So if you want to save the chat, on the bottom of the chat windows, there's 3 little dots. And you just click on that and hit save chat, and that way you'll have that information. Sister Kenke, I guess we're at about the conclusion of this.
Uhuru, yes, just want to remind people that on April 17th through April 17th through the 19th, that the African People's Socialist Party is hosting their national plenary right here in St. Louis, Missouri. To register, go to APSP plenary, plenary.org. Again, that's apsplenary.org to register. We would certainly really love to have you here in St. Louis, Missouri, so that you can see the work of the Black Power Blueprint in action, the African People's Socialist Party's immediate response to the question of reparations. And you can see the projects that we've put on the ground here. And if you're unable to, there is the ability also to be able to participate online. So we certainly hope that everyone will register and try to be here in St. Louis for April 17th through the 19th. And if not, please join us online. I see Sister Betty has her hand raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind people again that the Black Slave Theater Company, it is a company. They are an amazing group of talented singers, people who can act and perform. I think their latest production, the one on D-Theft, is online. If you Google it, I think it will be possible for you to see an excerpt of that play. I strongly recommend, if you're interested in a troupe of dedicated actors, that you consider the Black Slave Theater Company.
Oh, thank you so much, Sister Betty. And
just one more thing, that people can watch the entirety of the reparations presentation that we watched a bit of earlier on the Burning Spear TV. The verdict is in, reparations now. It was one of the studies of Omali taught me that used to air every Sunday morning. But please check out the Burning Spear TV on YouTube as well. That's all I have.
And we'll also make sure that we put that on the Black is Back Facebook page and on Instagram as well. That was so powerful. The first time I saw that, in fact, excellent. And I just want to just close out on behalf of the Black is Back Coalition. One of the things, and with going back to what happened in 1982 with the Reparations Tribunal, I just want people to really understand this point that there were others of our ancestors, such as Queen Mother Moore, we know Paul Robeson, and others who did a lot to bring forward this issue of reparations and to challenge the government and everything. But one of the things that happened within the Uhuru movement, the African People's Socialist Party, under the chairman, the Black is Back Coalition came into existence around Barack Hussein Obama. So as a coalition, we were not even in existence. But they wanted to make it a household word. They wanted to get it out into the community among the masses, almost Sister Mama Fatima, what you're talking about, to bring it to the masses, to make that everyday person be able to understand this. And so that is what the initiative that the African People's Socialist Party took, and they had the first reparations tribunal. And from what I understand, the chairman said that initially when they were going to do it, some people was like, no, you can't do that. Nobody's going to understand that. So I just wanted you all, I think this is a good thing to close with, to just understand the importance of a strong political ideology and a leadership and a vehicle to be able to move things forward. The Black is Back Coalition does offer that. So does the African People's Socialist Party and other organizations within the Uhuru movement. But you will get a clear way to see an idea is brought forward and how it is implemented, and even more importantly, the impact of it. Lastly, I'll just say reparations became on the national issue in terms of elections with the advent of the first electoral campaign school that the Black is Back Coalition had. And that's when members, at least I know Sister Akil and Nai was one of the people, and Jesse Neville, who was with the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. They decided to run for office in Florida, and they ran on an issue of reparations. And we were saying, here's how you inject, the Black is Back electoral campaign school said, here's how you inject revolutionary politics into these elections. You just do it, you put it out there. And although they did not win that election, they were so powerful, they were so effective that they were literally able to make international news. You may have heard some years back about some fool sitting up there and saying, you got your reparations with Barack Hussein Obama, but it went international. But that's behind the work and what they were doing within the African People's Socialist Party and those elections. And so it became, and then the next thing we know, right after that happened, then we hear Marian Anderson, who was running on a national campaign for president, bring the issue of reparations in her campaign. So these are how things feed into each other and how we can change things and drive things. I want to say thank you so much, Brother Daoud. Thank you as the chair of the reparations working group. Thank all the members. And we got to do it until we win it. We have to. And Uhuru.
We always try to give everybody the best.
Yes.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Come on, everybody. Uhuru. Reparations now. Reparations now.
Now.
Reparations
now.
now.
Right.
Damn it. Uhuru.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Peace
Chief
and
Omar.
blessings.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
Uhuru.
Yes, absolutely.
Uhuru.
Absolutely.
Stay safe.
Uhuru.
Thank you. Sister Fatima, too.
Yeah, Sister
Yes.
Mama. Woo, 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 woo,
Yes.
woo,
Thank
woo,
you.
woo. The reparations working
Thank you.
group. Yes. Brother Daoud, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Thank
gotta
you.
take care. Lisa, thanks for hosting.
Well, co-hosting.
Right?
Co-hosting.
That's right.
Co-hosting.
We gotta keep doing this.
That's what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.